Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. Every once in a while I see a video on YouTube that really gets my interest. Recently I came across an amazing maker called PaskMakes. He demonstrated how to make useful steel boxes using a simple jig that does not require a bending brake. Watching this video created a brainworm in my head and I had to make it. I checked online to see if I could buy the plans from him, but unfortunately they're not available. The jig and concept is amazing, however it is a fairly simple jig to make. So here is my version of the PaskMakes useful steel box jig. Let's start off with an overview of what we're trying to build, and then I'll throw some videos together showing you how I did it, and hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the process. So here we go. This is a picture of a Black & Decker workmate that I've had for several years. The top rotted off, so I've replaced it with some 2x6 material, and it works great for a small workbench. This is the workbench that I'm going to be using with the jig for cutting the steel boxes. This little workmate folds up and tucks out of the way in the garage, which is great, and I can store the jig behind it. In addition, I've mounted a cart with some 6-inch wheels below it so I can roll it out of the way when I need to. Workmates like this are readily available on the used market for about $40 Canadian, which is about 20 bucks US. We are trying to replicate Pask's jig, and here's a top view of it. The main part of the jig is two pieces of 1/2 inch plywood that are joined together with a 1/8 inch groove down the center. For the main support, I used 1x2s on the back. Wood glue and staples were used to assemble it, and I created a 1/8 inch gap between the two pieces to give the saw blade a clearance for the kerf. The two-piece fence at the bottom of the picture is made out of hardwood and is used to support the stock while you're cutting it. The vertical saw guide is just a 1/2 inch thick piece of plywood cut to about 1.5 inches wide. It's elevated above the top of the jig by 1/8 inch. I used steel 1/8 inch plate that I drilled a hole in so that I could fasten the saw guide to. This gap allows you to slide your stock underneath the fence. I used a piece of 16 gauge steel as a secondary fence for when you're doing the scoring cuts. I used 3 1/4 20 threaded inserts or T-nuts on the top and on the bottom to allow maximum flexibility for when adjusting it. I found by the addition of that little round knob it was much easier to adjust the fence. This is a worthwhile upgrade. Another upgrade is a little stop block at the bottom left hand corner. It just clamps onto that 1x2. It's a piece of U-channel with a threaded hole in it. The threaded hole is for a thumb screw which clamps it to the 1x2. Here's a picture of the back of the jig. The horizontal bar is used to give a clamping surface for the workmate. The little piece of 1x2 clamp block is just that, a little block to allow the clamps to firmly hold the steel. The 1 5/16 bar is an offset from the blade edge to the edge of the saw guide. It comes in handy when you're setting up your scoring cuts. Here you can see the dimensions: 26 7/8 inches wide, 24 inches tall. There was two pieces of plywood that were joined with an 1/8 inch gap in the center. I used 1x2 framing for the bottom and it worked out great. When I'm done using the jig, here's how I store it. I store the saw guard clip and the thickness gauge piece of offcut steel underneath the fence. This keeps everything together and ready for use for the next time. Now let's see a few clips of how it was built. This is the first time I've cut steel with a circular saw. Coming from a woodworking background, this was a little terrifying to start with. Thanks again to PaskMakes. This was a wonderful jig, works perfect, and the box is awesome. It was quick to make once the jig is done. Now I can just crank out the boxes or the drawers as many as I want. Thanks for watching. If you thought this was a good video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, or even subscribe. Thanks again.